Hello there, how are you? Yeah, I'm back, but as always, joined by myself. Lank cannot be here, unfortunately. Well, he can be here, he's just chosen not to be. No. It is just me this time. I believe Lank has already posted the results in shorthand on his community tab, but I'm just going to do it anyway, because I want some record of it. I'm just going to quickly run through last week's fixtures. Our predictions for next week's fixtures. It'll be a short one again. I do like a good short one here and there. Just quickly running through the scores. I believe it is 8-1 to Mr. Lankowski. There is no rollover this week as of now. So, we have a lot of ground to cover. So, in terms of last week's results, we'll just quickly pop them up here. We had the early... Was it the early? No, we had the Friday night football. Spurs versus Palace. Spurs got another win. We both put Spurs. That's a point each. Yeah, Spurs keep on win. Not the most convincing win, but a win nonetheless. Moving into the early kickoff on the Saturday, we had Chelsea versus Brentford. And yeah, we both put Chelsea. We both got it wrong. Brentford won. Chelsea were the better team. They should have scored in the first half a few goals. They didn't. This level you get punished, and they ended up losing. It's pretty much as simple as that, really. Like, there isn't really much else to... Yeah, there's not really much else to add. Story of the season, Chelsea dominate, they don't take their chances, and then they get punished for it. Brentford just sat in, and that's what you got to do. Chelsea can't create a chance for love nor money at the moment, and yeah. Deserved winners? Debatable, but they won nonetheless. Next game, Arsenal versus Sheffield United. We both had Arsenal to win. Wasn't even a question. They just blew them out of the water. Sheffield United, dire as always. Shouldn't really be in the league, but that's by the by. Moving in to the next game, it is the Burnley-Bournemouth game. Lank went with a draw on this one. I went with a Burnley win. Bournemouth somehow managed to win. Bournemouth are another team that are dire and shouldn't be in the league, but Burnley are actually starting to prove some people wrong. Most people had them doing decently. They are fucking tragic as well. Both teams are not fit for the league, and to get rid of one of them will be a blessing in disguise. Like, they're just taking up space at this point. Like, if you're gonna, like, I don't mind. I like the little teams, I do, but you've got to put up some fight, and they just don't seem to. They don't give you a good game. Like, you know. Normally, newly promoted teams are quite scrappy. They'll be hard to beat. They'll be compact. They might not create a lot going forward. They're hard to beat. No, none of these teams that have come up, and Bournemouth, who came up last year, they're not like that. And yeah, there's not really much to add. We both got that wrong. So it's what is that now? 2 for 2 for both. 2 for 4. Half points for both of us. 2 points. 2 points. Next game. Quite a shocker, actually. Newcastle Wolves. Wolves managed to get the win in it. Was it a win or was it a draw? Hold on. I think it was a 2-2 draw from the top of my head. Quickly checking. But yeah, we both... Well, nevertheless, we both put Newcastle to win. Yeah, it was a 2-2 draw. We both put Newcastle to win. And yeah, Wolves are starting to show a bit of fight now. And they're starting to show a bit of bite. And yeah. I think they'll be safe, but there it is. Next game, West Ham, Everton. Everton, another team. Well, me and Lank both put West Ham win. Everton got the win. They're another team who are starting to show signs of improvement. They're starting to buy in the Dyche philosophy, and they're getting the results because of it. And they're becoming, I wouldn't say a good team, but a consistent and steady team. He steadied the ship. They're grinding out results, and that's what you got to do to stay in the league. West Ham, Everton, away, you know, at West Ham as well. It's not even like they're doing it at Goodison Park. With all the charges as well around Everton, you know, it's good to get a bit of a win like that and an uplift, and definitely tell the supporters are behind them. That's another one we got a lot wrong. Moving into the Brighton-Fulham game. Again, we both put Brighton. We both got it wrong. Brighton are a weird team, man. I know they drew with Fulham, but still, like, they just, on their day, they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. And yeah, they should have really won this. They didn't, but not much to add. Next one, Villa versus Luton. Foregone conclusion before it even started. Both put Villa. They continue their rise to dizzying heights, even. Like, they are flying at the moment. I think they're fifth, aren't they? Yeah, they're fifth in the league. 1 point off top 4 and 4 points off top of the table, top of the tree. Villa are flying, especially when they started the season with that awful defeat in Newcastle. I was like, "Ooh, second syndrome season, here we go." But no, they've found their form and then some. They've been absolutely superb. The RB's been a fantastic signing, but it does help when you play Luton, who shouldn't again just not good enough for the league. I fear for Luton that this may be another Blackpool situation where they have the season where they're in the Prem, and then we ain't gonna see them for a long time. Put it that way. Moving into the penultimate fixture of last week, Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. The battle of the Champions League clubs, you may add. A lot of Champions League pedigree there, but both put Liverpool win. Liverpool, they're not playing the best football. They're not pulling up trees, but they're winning. They're winning games, and they're nowhere near back, but they're winning, and they're more consistent than they were last season. And yeah, they've got too much quality going forward, and Forest are just a middling team. So, and then moving into the Manchester derby, once again, both had a City win. Not really. I think the only surprising thing about this is it was only 3. Man City absolutely blew them out of the water. Don't think it was a penalty for the first one. I think it was very soft. Man United were lucky not to concede more though. Like, their team is dreadful. Like, it is dire how bad their team is. Ten Hag, there's calls to the sack. The management's a mess. The ownership's a mess. I don't know. I don't know where I sit on the Ten Hag situation, because on one hand, I think he's a fantastic manager. But on the other hand, it's just weird. He hasn't even tried to implement his style of play. And I know he did that weird interview and he's saying he got misinterpreted, but he basically came out and said the players are shit and they can't play the football I want to play. I don't know, man. For me, it's like, it's bad. Like, there's a certain level, and I love Ten Hag as a manager, but it's like the way they're playing and you just can't. It's just not acceptable. And I know that's on the players, but like the manager also, like, the decisions he's making is weird. He has this weird obsession where he plays his favourites like Southgate, like Rashford just will not be dropped. Højlund he drags off constantly, even though he's their best player arguably. Bruno Fernandes is captain, criminal. I know he wanted more signings, but the defence is shocking. Don't know why they got rid of David De Gea. No, made your bed, you sleep in it. Man United are thinking. But yeah, that was a very quick roundup. We should do this more often, you know? No Lank, no fuss. Quickly wrap it up. There we go. So then, moving into the fixtures for this weekend. Let me just pull them up. So yeah, like I said, Lank's not here, but he has apparently sent over his predictions for this coming weekend. Well, I say this, I'm recording it on the Friday last minute. It's either going to go up very late on the Friday or probably morning right before the kickoff. So we got the early kickoff. Well, I say early. We got the 12:30 kickoff of Fulham versus Manchester United. Lank has gone for a Man United win. I've actually gone for a draw. I think the turmoil will continue. I just don't. Man United don't have my faith at the moment. And seeing Fulham get a result against Brighton last week, I think they might grind out a win, especially at Craven Cottage. And it's an early kickoff, and you don't want to be playing an early kickoff when you're playing awful. I think if Man United do win this, it'll be a 1-0 or a 2-1. Like, it's not going to be pretty. But yeah, I think Man United, I think the pain continues. They are not in a good place at the moment. Rashford going to nightclub, Sancho's still making noise. Like, yeah, that they're in a spiral, and I don't see. They might pull out of it a little bit, and they might get a win here, but the trajectory is going down, and it's not a happy place. It's quite a toxic environment at the moment. Moving on to the second game of the weekend, it is West Ham versus Brentford. Lank's gone for a West Ham win. I've gone for a Brentford win. Either side of the London spectrum, a London derby. I don't know. I can see why Lank's gone West Ham. I think West Ham are good, but I think Brentford are one of them teams where they should have more points on the board than they currently do. However, I watched them last week. I think defensively they are sound, and I think, yeah, they've got some players on the counter, and they're a big, strong, tall team that can do some damage. And they're at home. I just think right for a Brentford win. Next game is Burnley Palace. We've both gone for a Palace win. I think that's more on the back. It's predicated on the fact that Burnley are just not a very good team. I think Palace are just an average team. I still think they're missing a spark or two, but they're doing all right. Next game, and we have Brighton versus Everton. Lank has wisely gone with the Brighton win. I, for some reason, have gone with a draw. Not quite sure why I've done that, but I have. I just have a feeling that Everton might be able to grind out a draw. Brighton are a weird team. This is a weird one. Brighton could hit them for 6, or they could struggle. They really could. And yeah, interesting. It'll be an interesting game, I think. Man City, Bournemouth. Man City have looked a bit shaky as of recently. I know they won last week, but they've been struggling. Results, the performances have not been top tier, but it's Bournemouth and it's Man City. They should blow them out of the wall. This generally could be a 5 or 6. So Bournemouth are just not a very good team, and Man City, while they're not playing amazing, they are still Man City. You'd expect them to get the win, so we're both gone for a City win. The next game is the dire one. Wolves versus Sheffield United. And we've both gone for a Wolves win. They seem a bit rejuvenated. Sheffield United continue to hit new lows. They are very much in trouble. I mean, they're bottom of the league with a point. It's too early to say. But if they carry this form on, they will give Derby's 8 points a run for their money. I don't think they'll hit below. I think they'll crack 10 points. But it's not that's not something to write home about. They are an awful team, and they've got so many problems behind the scenes. And yeah, it is what it is. Moving into the next game, we have Arsenal Newcastle, and this is a big one. I don't think either team are playing particularly well, but they're both good teams. Lank's gone for an Arsenal win. I've gone for a draw. I just see 2-2 written all over this, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be an interesting game. It'll be interesting to see how they match up, because they're very much although they're both big teams, they kind of seem antagonistic in that way, where they kind of match each other, but not polar opposites, but very different in the way they approach it. But they're both very good teams. The next game is Villa Forest. Midlands Derby. We've both gone Villa. The Emery train, just like the Spurs, but we'll get into that. But the Emery train is full speed ahead. Can Storm Kieran slow them down? We'll have to see. But Villa look imperious at the moment. Forest just look middling. You'd expect Villa to get the win with the form they're in and the players. And Villa, all roads point to Villa. Come back to that one. Liverpool versus Luton is the Super Sunday, last game on Super Sunday. I don't know why that's a Super Sunday fixture, but here we are. We've both gone for a Liverpool win, obviously, because Luton are not fit to play in the Premier League again. Liverpool, not playing absolutely earth-shattering football, but they're playing, I'd say, decent football. Probably one of the best in the league. They're nothing. They ain't a special team. They're just getting wins and doing what they need to do. And then the last game, the big one on the is this on Monday night? Oh, this was a little Sunday. Because why not? The Monday Night Football, Chelsea versus Tottenham. Now that is an interesting one. North London. London Derby, North London versus South West London. I don't know about this one. This is a weird one. Tottenham, top of the league. Are they still unbeaten? I'm pretty sure they're still unbeaten. Flying. Chelsea, dominating teams but can't win, struggling. I think they've turned a corner, hit another wall. But Lank's gone for a Spurs win. I've gone for a Chelsea win. For me, Chelsea are a weird team. This is the type of game that will suit them. A team coming on to them. It's the teams that sit behind the ball that they struggle against, and Spurs won't do that. They will attack. I think this game is right for goals. I'm going to go for 3-2 for Chelsea or 3-1. And also Chelsea have a very good record against Spurs. I think Chelsea will get it done. Lank's gone for a Spurs win, but we'll have to see. It was a draw this week, by the way. We pretty much matched each other. Even though we went different, we both got it wrong somehow. So yeah, it is a rollover. So next week will be 2 points. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm not going to do any touches on Leeds or Middlesbrough, but I'll say a little thing on Middlesbrough for my piece. They're playing well. They're climbing up the table. They're into the quarterfinals of the League Cup, or whatever the fuck it's called now. It's yeah, they're very much turned the corner, to use that phrase again, from the start of the season. Just be interesting to see how they are, where they'd be if they started like this. But it's a long season, and we'll have to see. Well, yeah, that was the roundup of the football. Very, very snappy. We will be back to normal next week, and yeah, me and Lank will we'll do a longer one, I think. I suspect, and we'll go into the details. But yeah, this has been a quick roundup, and yeah, enjoy your week.